I ended up not long after that buying Charles Wormser's coins. Charles Wormser was a gentleman who owned a place called New Netherlands Rare Coins, and he was partners with John Ford. So when I bought that, I brought that collection to the Goldbergs in Superior to sell at auction, and we sold it under the Buddy Epson collection.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So, and
that was an amazing collection.
That was fabulous, fabulous.
Oh, I remember when I was a kid. What was it, like 89 or 88?
No, earlier. No, it was like 85, I think.
Wow, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Those little trays, was it really stored in those little trays?
Oh, yeah, that's how it all,
that was gorgeous.
Basically what it was store stock at the time of a very typical inventory from the 30s and 40s of what it was that he just never sold. Wow. Yeah. It was all my coins. I was everything from half cents up to $3 gold pieces. You know, and that was a very big deal at the time, and that gave me the money to build my house.
Got it.
And you know, then we did our thing. Always was making good money, and then moved forward. We had a hiccup in 1989, and you know, that was that. You learn from hiccups and you move on.
Got it. So tell me what it was like for you, 86, 87, when PCGS and NGC started. Complete game changer. Like, tell me what you were thinking at the time.
For me, it was, you know, I was so in tune to just buying and selling things, and back in the late 80s, the big business then was Raw Gold, selling to the guys in Minnesota. Bill Ulrich had a company, and IRI. They were the big, you know, they were the big players at the time, and you'd go sell them your gold coins. And I was making money. I was making good money. Not like we do now, but...
But in terms of the benefit, I mean, were you like, okay, this is a good thing for collectors? I mean...
I wasn't involved with collectors.
Right.
You know, the first collector I got involved with out here was a guy named Bob Cohn, who I met. And that was in the late 80s, near the end of 80s. And I built him an incredible pattern collection. You know, it was the most complete of 1877 halves before Simpson came along. And, you know, Bob was a friend, and we just, he liked coins. So I said, okay, I'll do it with you, you know, because I'll show you how to make money doing it. You know, he ended up selling all of his coins, made about $10 million. So he liked it, so he was happy with it. And we're still very close to this day. He moved from coins to cars. He likes cars now. And it's all good.
That's cool. Very cool. So tell me about your business today, the empire of Kevin Lipton Rare Coins. What's it like? What do you do on a daily basis?
Our business today has changed dramatically from back then. We're, you know, one of the largest dealers in modern coins. We've, as the Mint products have it, other than the bulk bullion products, we're the Mint's biggest customer. And we do a lot of these products and get them in autographed holders and such like that. And retailers love selling, and collectors love buying, like Silver Eagles and all of these fresh Mint products. They're into it. So we do that. That's a big part of what we do. We buy and grade, you know, original boxes of Mint sold Silver Eagles, backdated ones, huge amounts of proof Silver Eagles. You know, I mean, we've sold more proof 70 sets of Silver Eagles than any 5 other people put together. You know, and there's a real market for this stuff. People love it. They collect it. And, you know, you give them what they want. So the truth is, the one person that got me involved in it was Miles Standish. I mean, and, you know, when he was working at PCGS, the first guy that I knew very well that started dealing in modern was Bob Lessay. You know, Bob was a dear friend who passed away a few years ago. And he was doing it. We were kind of like making fun of him. But he was establishing these markets with these new retail companies. And they, you know, while I ignored it, he was doing a lot of business. And then Miles showed me, he says, why don't you blah, blah. And at the time, I was doing business with a guy named George Marciano, who started a company called Guess Jeans. And George had tons and tons of boxes of Silver Eagles that he had bought, you know, for bullion years before. And he started selling me them, and I would start grading these things. And this is a good way to make money. And we, you know, we started making a lot of money doing Silver Eagles. So it's like I'm not shy. I'll do whatever works.
So what year was it, do you think, or ballpark, whenever you kind of started the majority of modern, when your business was mostly made up of modern?
I think we moved into modern in a very serious way in 2005.
Wow, that's 17 years. Wow.
Maybe 2007.
Wow. So you're one of the first and more or less pioneers of it?
Oh, I mean pioneers. I mean, Lee Minchell started before me.
Yeah.
And I saw what he was doing, and it's not complicated,
Mm-hmm.
but it is very capital intensive.
Right.
It is capital intensive because you have to buy a huge amount of coins to go through to find the coins that'll grade proof 70 and mint state 70. I mean, we've made many 7 and 8 figure purchases from the mint, and so it's capital intensive.
It's a long cycle. You
correct. You have to buy it,
then you wait, then
you have to grade it, then you have to sell it.
Yeah. And it doesn't like come in a registered or FedEx envelope when you buy coins to the mint, right?
No, we have to hire armored car service.
Right.
I mean, sometimes it costs us $50,000 to get what we bought from the mint in at one time by Brinks or Malkin and stuff. But it's it's all part of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We do it because it works, and there's a big demand for it.
Mm-hmm.
We still sell thousands and thousands and thousands of double eagles. I mean, over the last 3 years, I probably sold 2,500 10 Indians and MS-64, and just a lot of stuff.
It's great to hear that because it just shows you how big and popular the hobby is. It really is. I mean, people go to coin shows. Oh, there's not that many people here at this one. It's a lot bigger. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than what people think.
The communication to clients now is television, computer, and like that. It's the coin show is, like you said, a bit more of a social event. If someone wants a destination to go to.
Sure.
But most collectors don't even. Look what happened through COVID with coin auctions.
Mm-hmm.
People had no problem bidding in auctions without, being there. And
speaking of coin shows, you have the most interesting presence, let's just say, at a coin show. Usually sitting in a high leatherback chair, right? You got plushy carpet, and you got this great big smile like that. You're hanging out, and you have your poodle on your lap, sometimes in your
my poor dog is no longer with us, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Yeah. But just that visually is so striking. It's hilarious. It's great. You just shows you're having a good time.
I mean, I'm really not interested in doing anything at this point in my life that's not pleasurable.
Right.
I've always been a hedonist, and I'm certainly not going to change now. It's like, what's the point?
Sure, I hear you.
I'm not interested. I love going to work every day. I work in an incredible environment in this office. I work with great people, and we laugh and have a good time, and do business all day long. So
yeah, it's awesome.
That's what works for me.
Yeah, you worked hard to get here. Yeah, that's for sure.
I sure did.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. There's a lot more, I think, younger collectors, let's say between the ages like 13, early 20s, that want to be coin dealers. I think a lot more than ever before. So to the younger collectors out there that want to be coin dealers, what advice would you give to them?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, but you're the dealer's dealer, Kevin.
It's so different today than it was when I was a kid because, like I said, you could like print money by going to the bank and buying $50 if you were a kid of 59, and but there's plenty of opportunities now. I mean, especially if you pick the right products that the mint's selling that are limited. Often, a lot of them are worth a lot more right away, and I know a lot of young people that have been very successful buying coins that way. And then what they do is they can use that money to fuel other collecting interests of what they want and then parlay that from there.
Sure.
But the whole key is exposure.
Gotcha.
Look at as many coins as you can. Go look at when there's a major auction. Go get a chair and go sit down and look for an hour or two.
Sure. Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, very good advice. So let's say we had a little time machine. Let's say this room was a time machine. We could go back to any point in history. Numismatically speaking, which year would you travel back in time to?
That's an easy one for me.
Go ahead. What is it?
I mean, from a coin standpoint, my fantasy would be to be in Carson City in 1870 and get a gem set of all the coins from quarter on up to 20.
That's cool. I like that.
That's like the fantasy set of coins I'd like to have. I mean, I've handled most everything in U.S. numismatics. I've handled almost all the 1792 patterns and in the best condition. And it's been fun. It's been good. And, I feel like even with everything I collect in art and otherwise, I don't need to have anything forever.
Mm-hmm.
I think all we're doing is, we're here for a small amount of time, and to have handled it and passed it on, so to speak.
We're caretakers.
Yeah, it's all it is.
Yeah.
It's like, so what? You die and your kids sell the crap?
It's very exciting to kind of sell or move on or pass on a coin to somebody you can tell really, really appreciates it. It's very gratifying.
Everybody's different that way. For me, it's like when I would go to auctions all the time and I'd see a collector that wanted to buy something, I would lay off. I didn't need it. Let the collector buy it. Right. Other people don't feel that way, obviously. Right, yeah. But I feel like there's enough for everybody. And I've been blessed, and people that are pigs just don't work for me.
They get slaughtered, right? Yeah.
My biggest thing that my pet peeve is people that are selfish. It's a real turnoff for me. I don't dig it. I don't want to be around it. And it's the one little thing I always taught my kids. We've been so blessed. You must share.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. So when I walked in your office, just to say my jaw dropped. It's really, really cool. Like, not only is it's like the design, but it's so personable because it has a lot of things that you're very passionate about. And one thing I've noticed about collectors is they tend to collect maybe in something else, one or two other. What are your passions outside of coins in terms of collecting?
I collect a lot of art and antiques. I'm a big collector of Gallet glass, which is French glass from the turn of the century, 1900. I have the best collection of this ceramic called Zolnay, which is also from that same time period. I have a lovely collection of Tiffany lamps. I have like 25 major Tiffany lamps.
Are they good for coin grading?
No.
Okay, got it. Okay.
We like looking at them. They're pretty. And I collect currency as well. If you look around the office, you'll see a lot on the wall. They all have a story. The sheet on the wall there is it happens to be a unique uncut sheet of notes from Dale, Wisconsin. My wife's name happens to be Dale. Cool. Over there, you'll see a note from Beverly Hills, which is where we live. Another one from Follett, Texas. And my first real mentor and best buddy was a guy named Mike Follett, who was from Dallas, who I got to know really well when I was working for Ivy when I was 16 years old. Passed away, but he was the best man at my wedding. And the other one's from Fort Lee, New Jersey, which is, where I moved to and live. So you can collect currency in all kinds of fabulous ways.
It's fun.
And I love it. And, and I like to surround myself with stuff that makes me smile.
It's great. That's the great thing about collecting, whether it's coins, paper money, there's a million different ways to approach it.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it fun.
Budgets.
Yeah.
You can spend dollars and be happy or spend millions. Or you can spend the same and be unhappy. That's how it works.
Yeah. So there's going to be thousands of people who watch this video, lots of collectors, and they're going to look in that camera, they're going to look into your eyes, and they're going to be like, Kevin, show us the way. What is like the one really good piece of advice that you can, it's hard to summarize in such a career like yours, but if you were to sit down with a couple collectors right now, what would you tell them how to be a better collector? What would you tell them to do?
I would tell them to buy the best they can afford because everyone covets, always have, and always will covet the best. Whatever level of what it is, try to buy the best they can afford. Stay away from junk and crap unless you just want to have it and you're not interested in a return.
When did you design all this and build all this? When did you do this?
I bought the building in, actually it's really kind of interesting. I was the original tenant in 86, I think, when the Goldbergs owned and built this building. It used to be Superior. And I was the original tenant in the penthouse, not here. What we have here is where they used to hold their auctions. And I had to leave because I started the American Rare Coin Fund with Hugh Sconyers.
You know Hugh Sconyers?
Very well, yes. Why do you?
Okay. He is the Kaiser Soze of the coin business. People hear his name, but they can't locate him. They don't know where he is. So get this. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. Right. In a neighborhood called Avondale. So did Hugh Sconyers. He went to Robert E. Lee High. I went to Robert E. Lee High. Here's where it gets interesting.
He's a lot older than you.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing. I worked at Edgewood Coin Company when I was a kid in Jacksonville, Florida, from 14 to 18. So did Hugh Sconners, but he was in the 70s or early 70s, and I was in the late 80s.
Right.
So tell me about Hugh Sconners.
I mean, I've known him since I was a kid. I mean, him and I, he asked me when he wanted to do a coin fund in the 80s.
Yeah.
And he, was talking to Kidder Peabody.
It's $40 million fund, right?
It was only 20.
Okay.
And he needed someone that, knew what they were doing. So he asked me to do it with him and be the one who traded the coins and bought and sold the coins. At the time, I thought it was like, okay, let's try something new. And then we did it together. That's all.
The only time I met him in person was when he had that fund up and running, and he had just bought the $1804 for just shy of $1 million.
Yes.
And Mr. Robbins and I walked up to him, and he had cases, and obviously everything was rattlers back then, but just like stacks of proof gold. I remember,
that's what we had.
I remember stacks.
That's what I bought.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
I bought all the coins.
You did, yeah. I gotcha. So, Kevin, that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Enjoyed having you on. Don't tell the other guests, but I think you were one of my favorites. Yeah, your stories.
You said that to all the boys.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just your stories are great. I really appreciate time. Inviting me down and showing me around your office and just kind of, educating collectors on how to approach things a little differently.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
You got it.
Alrighty, awesome. Yeah, there you go.